welcome, buddy.
There we go. Phew, man, it's hot.
How's the weather out for you? Hot today?
Hot today and tomorrow. It's gonna be in low 90s. So, um, it's like already 85. So, how's out
Yeah.
there for about two and a
Oh,
half, 3 hours?
Sonny, you're female. I'm sorry, girl. Did not mean to misgender you. Thank you for pointing that out for me. That way I know too, because
It was
now
just
I know in the future.
it was just a Miami Vice thing, Florida, Sonny Crockett.
Hey, you know, it's all those GTA Vice days.
That's it. It's like if you're Don Johnson and Miami Vice, you just have to refer to everyone as pal.
Hey,
Look here,
dude,
pal. It's
bro.
like, look here, pal. It's network television. So,
God, what an aggressive word too. Like what an aggressive way to say hi to somebody. Hey, pal.
hey, pal.
Like you have to say it meanly too.
It's like, hey, pal. It's like PayPal.
Yeah, like the fuckheads at PayPal. Fuck those
Yeah.
guys. Fuck PayPal. You know, just so
Oh,
everybody knows, it's the PayPal mafia that's ruining America right now.
pretty much.
That
Peter
includes
Thiel, Elon
Peter
Musk.
Thiel, Elon Musk, Curtis Yarvin is part of that group. He's more of a philosopher on it at this point, but he's just as much of a prick. Um, what is it? Andreessen, was he a part of PayPal also?
I'm not going to refer to Curtis Yavin as a philosopher. I'm just not.
Well, he's a faux philosopher.
He's
a philosopher.
He's a guy who played way too much Warhammer 40K. And thinks that's the way, like the future, that we're in the grim dark future. It's like, so not
He
only are
believes the
you,
lore.
so not only are you a horrible person, you're a hack as well, right?
Yeah.
So
I bet he can't even paint minis. Like, if you want a good 40K person, go fucking watch Chris Hemsworth.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
or no, sorry, Chris Evans. Go watch Chris Evans. Go watch Captain America's ass. Fucking, is it Chris Evans that
No,
does?
it's
No.
you're thinking of Henry Cavill.
Yes, Henry Cavill. Go watch
Superman.
Henry Cavill. Go watch Superman. Go watch fucking Superman. Go play fucking Wardy K. 40K, Wardy K. Words don't mean things today. 40K and paint minis and fucking be the nerdiest dude around. Superman, The Witcher. Like,
Yeah,
he's a
and
bro.
he might get a 40K show on Amazon.
That's
So
crazy. I hate Amazon, but that's still crazy.
yeah, well, they're the ones that would have the money to do it, and they didn't
Yeah.
screw up Fallout. So
Yeah, that's true. And to be honest, they're not really screwing up Rings of Power. I know it doesn't follow the lore exactly. My wife and I have some disagreements on this because she's a huge fan of um Tolkien's work and the entire Middle Earth and that entire genre. And she knows way more about it than I do. And it's like me and Wheel of Time. Like I can't watch the Wheel of Time series because
yeah,
I've read the books and I'm like, oh, that doesn't, no, nope, that's not how that went. I was like, ugh. And I pick it apart. So she can't watch the Rings of Power because she picks it apart. So we both watch the opposite. And she's like, oh, it's so good. Why don't you watch this? I'm like, same reason you don't watch this, because you're going to fucking yell at me the whole time and tell me it's wrong, just like I'm going to yell at you at the TV the whole time and tell you it's wrong.
see, I'm like, I mean, it's interesting about like fandoms because Tolkien's fandom is very very specific on his work, right? And I'm less of a, like, for me, I'm very much like Robert Howard, like heavy metal, like definitely like swords and sandals fantasy type, like
Hmm.
just give me the cheese, man. Like give me Conan the Barbarian. Like that's what I want to see.
You
You know.
don't want 5 books in the middle that are 1,300 pages long where nothing happens other
Yeah.
than Rand throws a hissy fit and destroys the world. It's kind of like what we're living through right now is like the beginning of the cracking of the earth. of the
Right.
world because some asshole's throwing a hissy fit with too much power and doesn't know how to control his fucking temper. And it's just wah, 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 me, and everybody's in a dark place.
I want to see. I want to. I just want to see Arnold, grab his dagger and be enough talk, and he just throws it at a guy, and then
Get to
he
the
and he and Wilt
chopper.
he and Wilt Chamberlain are duking it out, and that's what I want to see. I want to see Conan the Destroyer. So
Oh my God. I want to see Terminator. I want to see Schwarzenegger as Terminator. I'll be back. And just fucking take that Harley and just run him over. Just tail whip his ass with a fucking Harley. That would be the day.
Arnold's an interesting guy. Like like he since his sort of, I guess, semi-retirement, like yeah, like he's kind of like gone a little more progressive. Like, I mean, he was always like a straight up California Republican, you know?
Yeah.
So but like I remember like it's interesting just like, I mean, he's had some obviously scandals, but compared to politicians today, it's like he just had one kid out of wedlock. I mean, that's it.
Isn't isn't he like well he's I moved and my dog's fucking started barking. He's like the highest ranked, or like the highest polled politician in the country, I think. Like he has the highest approval of any politician in the country. He cannot
Yeah.
run for president,
No.
obviously, because he's not a natural born citizen, not a naturalized, but natural born. Because civics, the topic of the day is civics. So we're gonna throw out random civics words and probably discuss them a little bit. And we're going to
Sure.
dig into civics too over throughout all of this for everybody in the chat. Two is he's not natural born, he's naturalized. I think
Right.
he is a naturalized citizen. He can't run for president as much as we love him. He can't run.
He'd
As
be
much as
better
we
than
could
whoever.
wish past it, like I would love the
Yeah.
presidentator. Like what better sloganing would that, like the presidentator coming to fucking he was back.
He's an
The
interesting
second
guy. Like
coming, the presidentator.
he's got like a farm, and like he's on like I think like social media just feeding his animals. He's got like alpacas and goats and stuff, and like he goes to Walmart and he's just like a regular dude. Uh,
Yeah, he's just a guy.
yeah, he
He's
left. He left L.A. and he's like in Northern California, and he's just like, I'm out here. I'm feeding my animals. I'm just having the best time. I go to the Walmart. And so like, if you grew up in the '80s, you pretty much have like uh an Arnold voice on standby.
a default. Yeah,
Right.
same with early 90s. If you're from the early 90s, like I grew up with Total Recall was one of my favorite movies.
Oh, dude, Total Recall.
His
Paul
eyes freaking
Verhoeven.
just popping out. Like,
Oh,
ow, ow, I'm dying.
see you at the party, Richter.
It's coming out of my chest.
Michael Ironside is just like the most over the top bad guy. You're coming with me. I love Total Recall with Arnold.
Oh, what a great movie. Can we
Paper
send
like
Elon Musk? Can we
the
send
third
Elon
paper
Musk
mache
there?
boob. Like I mean, it's just like
The dream of every like 12-year-old.
right because it's like it's not enough to have two breasts on women. We got to have we need udders. Is what we say is really what we need.
Yeah, what
It's
he
like
yeah, it was Mars
yeah,
udders.
it's like
Milking the teat of freedom.
dude, back when movies were quotable, like that was our like nowadays it's you get on the social media and it's like you splice clips together. But back in the day, before the internets, we would do this to each other, where you roll people like, "Hey man, I got 5 kids to feed."
I
And
think the
so those
last
quotes are forever burned into our brains, along these neural tracks, right? You
it's
know,
it's like every kid of my generation, if you play one note on the piano, and you don't continue that note to the next, there's a fucking riot.
Right.
And if you're a millennial, you know what I'm talking about.
That's funny.
Oh, um, yeah. So no,
Civics.
I
So yeah,
civics
Sunday everybody wants to talk about civics, or we can just keep talking about movie quotes.
or
It's
both.
yeah, right. It's like like oh man. So I got a civics thing, and so
Yeah,
this
give
is
me some
like
civics.
so I was talking to a buddy of mine, and you know, and we've been I've been talking about this with various friends for a while about civics and the need for civics and da da da. And he was telling me a story about like his brother-in-law who's significantly younger than him, right? And so brother-in-law's about he just got married to his wife. They live they were they all were visiting the DC area, right?
Yeah,
So they're visiting DC, it's like a little family vacation after the wedding. And so they're driving downtown and you know, like my my friend and his wife at that time worked in the government outside of DC, right?
yeah.
So they're driving around, they're going to see the sights, and they go, "Hey, there's the Capitol," referring to the Capitol building, right? And the 14 brother-in-law says, "Capitol of what?" And
That's missing. Something's missing there.
yeah, it's like, "Capital of what?" It's like, and they're like, "Of the country? Of the United States?" "Oh, well, we have a capital?" Hmm. But here's the thing.
A literal face palm.
Wasn't it like Jimmy Kimmel or somebody that would go like they would do the random man or woman on the street and they would ask them like civics questions. And of course they'd always show the people that got
Think
it
so, yeah.
yeah, just dramatically wrong, like just, painfully wrong.
Hmm. We're
And
living through those people right now.
well, it's gotten even worse because it's like you didn't even have half the class sleeping through civics. I took like, I think it was called government. They didn't call it civics for whatever reason. Like when I was like a senior in high school, so I had a class in government, right? So I
Hmm.
basically, yeah, you just learned like what are the three branches, how a bill becomes a law.
Ours was
Basically
even more
everything school.
watered down in the 90s. It was and 2000s. It was U.S. history.
So I had U.S. history and I had government, right?
Oh,
So
we
like
didn't even have government.
yeah, we had government, right? So we had government, and I graduated in '95. So I think we were like one of the last classes to have that stuff because I think they did away with it when they had No Child Left Behind. I think that was part of that initiative. I could be wrong, but like, yeah, like Morgan said, like I had U.S. well, you would alternate. You'd have U.S. history and then world history, right? So you'd have some form of history every year,
Yeah.
and you never made it past World War II. It's like you got to the end of the year and you get to
Yeah,
World
like that
War II,
was the
and
end
it
of
was like they'd
history.
rush through it, right? It'd be like, all right, so Japan, Pearl Harbor, it's terrible,
Nazis.
and
Nazis
yeah,
killed a bunch of
Nazis
people.
bad, Hitler bad, and then Stalin's all like, yeah, I got you on the Eastern flank, you
And
know.
and then present.
Yeah, and then there's Captain America, and he has a shield, and that's it. It's like, do you reference a comic book? Like,
Yeah,
you gonna tell me Donald Duck was there too?
there's really no mention of history between World War II and Vietnam
No.
half the time.
Oh God, no. It was just like, I think like they just on the last day of school, they just put on like they let us listen to Fortunate Son by CCR and the homeroom.
Hmm.
And they go, and then they shut it off. They go, and that was Vietnam. Like, what?
And this was the war that lost because of the radio.
Well, because of the television and the radio. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It got brought to life in a way that no other war really ever had before.
Yep. It was on
Um,
the news every night, in
yeah.
color, and
But it
um
did, but it did create some of the greatest reporting anchors out of it.
yeah, back
And
when
like,
they had journalism,
yeah,
you
back
know.
when journalism meant something. Um,
Yeah, before they decided it's like it's gotta be about access. Gotta have
yeah,
access.
excellent.
You know. It's like, Mr. Trump, you're being accused of being a pedophile. Is that true? No, of course not. It's not true. Guess it's not true, according to
We're
Trump.
gonna do it then. We're gonna do it. It's the tiniest lie of them all. There's nothing to say here. It's so tiny.
Right. I don't know why
But,
you don't need civics. You
uh,
don't need to know what civics are. You don't
this is
even
what I
need
have
the
to
right
say
to
to
vote.
that.
Yeah.
My tiniest fuck I have to give to Trump.
Oh,
I'm gonna just
that's bigger than mine, you know.
I got that at a concert, at a punk rock show. I think it was Flogging Molly. It was a
Nice.
smaller punk rock show though, and they were handing out the last fucks you could just give away at the show, and it was for a charity group that called Punk Rock Saves Lives,
Yeah.
and they donate for suicide prevention and mental
Oh,
health
nice.
awareness, and I think shit like that is awesome.
That's
Um,
nice. Yeah. Like, but I mean, part of it is, I mean, it's one thing that I think has increasingly been lacking has been just, I mean, it wasn't, civics weren't a big thing back. I mean, they really haven't ever, but I think it's even worse now, you know. Um,
mhm, it is. People
and I
can't,
think I think a
people
lot of it
don't
has
even
set.
know who Abraham Lincoln is half the time. They don't even know what George Washington is. It's the, I'll cut in just for a second and then I want to hear everything you have to say about the next steps. I want to get your opinion on this too, because we talked a little bit about this, is we sort of demonized the founders and we've demonized America because
Mm,
there's a lot let's be honest, there's a lot we can demonize about ourselves. We
yeah,
can self-criticize, but we need to self-critique and not just criticize. Like it's okay to understand that George Washington was a slave owner, or Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner and an asshole, or Benjamin Franklin was a philanderer. But they
yeah.
also had really, they founded our country. They set us a precedent of documents to grow upon. Um, and so I guess where do we go from there? Where do we go from this founding and this growth idea
So
of civics?
I think so. I think it's twofold. Well, it's multifolded, right? And so the thing you got to remember about anytime you're talking about history or you're talking about the founding fathers
Hmm.
is current people will use them for their own ends, right?
Yes.
So, and that's everyone. That's but more so on the right, like you've got this like marble man image of, um, you know, the founding fathers, especially George Washington. And George Washington wasn't really a horrible guy. He was a slave owner, but he was just a product of his day.
Hmm.
Thomas Jefferson, in a lot of ways, was a much bigger ass than Washington ever thought about being. You
Yeah.
know, I've got a piece I need to publish about him. Because fun fact, did you know that Thomas Jefferson abandoned the defense of Richmond from redcoat troops? Did you know
Interesting.
that?
No, I
No,
didn't.
because it's not really talked about. Because what we talk about is, oh, the guy at Monticello, and wrote the Declaration of Independence and blah blah blah. And so not only did he abandon the defense of Richmond and let it fall because he didn't adequately prepare for its defense, he then tried to blame his generals and other people with him instead of taking the blame himself when it was clearly his fault. But that gets overlooked in history because we have this image of Jefferson, right? I mean, he's got a freaking memorial, so we have marbleized this man, you know. And so the thing is, it's like, it's not about so much demonizing our founding fathers. It's taking the totality of them, right?
Hmm.
And so to my mind, as someone who's historically trained, um, when you do that, it makes those people more impressive, right? Not
Yeah.
less impressive, because you know people.
Heroicism.
Yeah, well, yeah, people can make mistakes, right? People are
Hmm.
human, and the thing is, history is like, even for the Greeks, right? History for the Greeks was supposed to serve a moral lesson, right?
Hmm.
And that's kind of where we get this kind of phrase of, if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. Even though that's not necessarily true because each era is its own kind of thing. But there are lessons and examples you can take from it that you can say, hey, like they did this and this is how it happened. This could absolutely affect us this way. So like Washington owned slaves, and for what we know, hey, he was a pretty good slave owner. He didn't abuse them. Now, his ancestors, including Robert E. Lee, were freaking horrible to their
Yeah.
slaves.
Yeah.
They were horrible, you know, like we're talking mutilation and maiming for minor offenses. Like Robert E. Lee was not a nice man to his slaves, but you
It's the
never know
history they
that
don't
because he's
want you to learn.
yeah, you don't know that because he's always portrayed as this very kindly Southern gentleman that's so soft spoken. And just, I had to secede, because my glorious Virginia seceded. And that's how we whitewash our history, right?
Yes.
You
Under
know,
the guise of pretty language and eloquent white people.
and I used to say for the longest time, Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained was more closer to historical accuracy for how slavery was than any
Yeah.
of the other epics that came before it. Right?
Yeah.
And then they had 12 Years a Slave, which was brutal. And,
Yeah, those
but
movies are hard to watch, but they're good as fuck because they tell a story that's impactful and it's
yeah,
meaningful and it's true and it doesn't shy away from the hard truth of history. And it's okay to do that. Like they talk to, like if you listen to the interviews about that movie and about Leo doing those roles is he had a really hard time saying those words, but he was told he had to. He was told he needed to do it because it's what they did and it's how they sounded. And God, did he make it sound fucking real.
yeah. And
And
it,
but he did it in a way that was consumable so that we confront it. We have to confront the dark to see where we can learn from things. Because if you're not willing to confront your own faults and flaws, pruning trees or gardening or anything. You have to prune away the bad. You in your own self-reflection, mental health, you have to be willing to accept that you have bad with the good. It's okay to have bad with the good because bad, it's to err is to be human, right?
yeah,
That is a
yeah,
huge philosophy that we live by as a Western society is to err is to be human. So let's accept that we have flaws as a nation and let's
yeah,
run with the good that we can be because it's the American dream and the promise of America, not the American reality. Like they didn't write down this is what America is fundamentally at all times. It's this is a dream of freedom and liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
right. And the thing that you got to remember is for the longest time, I mean, and it's not, you know, this is how we've taught history for a long time. For most of, like, because most of history was written about the only people they considered it worthy of writing down was the kings, the power brokers, maybe very rich people. Um, I believe it was Virgil. Like so basically back in the day, like during the reign of Augustus in Rome, how he kept his job. I think it was either Virgil or maybe Suetonius. No, it wasn't Suetonius. But what he would do is so he was hired to write the biography of Octavian, right? It was a
Hmm.
political thing. CEOs do it now. Anytime they're looking to get promoted or, they
Yeah,
come
the
out
new
with a book.
book, Jake
Right.
Tapper.
Yeah, same kind of thing, right? And so
What
what
a dick.
what Virgil would do is, he would basically write one line a day,
Hmm.
and he stayed employed for like 20 years, and and it was like, and he would review it, like what his progress every so often with Augustus, and be like, okay. And, there it is. And that's because, so, Virgil's not going out into the marketplace and writing about the plebs and saying, a lot of that stuff we've got has been reconstructed from other sources. And really, like, even the myth of the founding fathers wasn't really started to be questioned until the end and of the 19th century going into the 20th by Charles Beard. And he was the first person to say basically the phrase, not he didn't say this, but you've heard like, oh, they were just a bunch of rich white landowning noblemen who didn't want to pay their taxes.
Hmm.
That's from Beard, where Beard basically says the American Revolution was based on economic need, not so much these high-minded ideals that were. And so, but as you
For
delve into
something that
history,
left some high-minded ideals, I don't
it was
honestly
both. I mean,
believe it was
honestly,
both. It can't be just one. It has to be all
well,
of
and that's the thing is like you when you get one or the other, right? It's
them. Hmm.
really just when you view it through a lens, you're trying to understand a facet of it, right?
Yeah.
That's why these different things like critical race theory, liberal theory, um, you know, uh, Marxist theory, feminist theory, all that are very important because you're looking at it from a different facet and you're trying to understand the totality of it. You're trying to get as close to understanding it as possible, and it's like, was it economic? Yeah. But I mean, I had a professor that said it was less the taxation, like it was like that was more of a sloganeering. But what it was actually the last act where the British closed off westward expansion in order to maintain peace with the Native Americans. And you had a bunch of veterans and you had a bunch of people from the French and Indian War that were like, man, screw this. There's all this land and we can't settle it after we fought for you guys. Man, screw you, and that
Hmm.
was kind of the last straw, right? Because everything else up to that point they'd been protests, but eventually the British had backed off, right?
Yeah.
And so they kind of mollified it. But when they did that, it was just like, oh no, you're cutting our legs out from under us, right? So those of us that don't want really anything to do with you and want to expand westward, now you're saying we can't. No, we're not doing it. And and at that point, it kind of had just run away. And so that by that time, and that was shortly before the Continental Congress, the first one in 1775, and there you go. So, but that's the lasting thing that they did that rarely gets talked about, and why I hate originalists is they made our government, our constitution set up to change.
Yeah.
It is made to change because they understood their limitations that, hey, this government that we're creating has to be for the people in the era it's in. And if it's not going to last. And so this was like hearkening back to, well, the founding fathers, okay, great. You know, like, my great granddad didn't have air conditioning in the house because he didn't have air conditioning.
Yeah.
But now I
Yeah.
have HVAC, you know?
Yeah, it's the idea that is what Thomas Jefferson said is every 19 years, basically every generation, laws are of the generation that's alive and not supposed to be of the generations that's dead
Right.
because they're dead and they don't need the damn laws. What are they going to do? They're dead. Are they going to come back and be zombies and tell us how to live our lives? Or do we progress our constitution the way that it's supposed to be and amend it? There's a reason we have amendments to the Constitution is we were supposed to amend the Declaration and our constitutional rights to match the modern era and wipe away those that were no longer needed. That does not mean wipe away the First Amendment or the Second Amendment. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean wipe away your right to uh, a, a jury trial or due process that they're trying to do right now, or wipe away the right to vote. What it means is to take those rights that they gave us and rewrite them in a modern way that fit society and fit the framework of the Constitution and their
Right.
guardrails and what they set up for us. And we'll go back to the tree metaphor because I wrote about a tree this morning. Fred and I have been talking about a tree a little bit. Fred, Lawrence, and I have and if you don't know, Lawrence Winterman is the other bearded wizard that is on with us normally. If you don't subscribe to him, please do. Plug for a second. Please subscribe to all three of us. Fred and I love it. I appreciate the support. I'm running a summer special for $1 a month or $11 a year or a poem that you get to commission for a founding membership of 200 or more a year. If you want, I'm here for it. Fred,
I might
if
take
he wants to
advantage of
plug,
that. I might take
yeah.
advantage of the poem, but I want it to be like Stewie's from Family Guy. Oh, squiggly line.
I
Like
mean,
I
I
want it to
did.
be absurdist and ridiculous, you know.
I mean, I did the come and go song or the came and went sonnet. Um, because I got inspired by a conversation in one of Lawrence and Dana Dubois' daily whatevers about the gas station Come and Go that's no longer here anymore in the South. It was spelled K-U-M. They
Yeah.
knew what they were doing.
Oh
It
no,
was in the South too.
I've still seen come and goes. Like they're
They're
out.
not, they're gone now. They're
Not there are
rebranded.
some out in the west, in the southwest. There's some. There's still the come and go, and I don't trust it because I'm just like, it's like they trying to trick me, man. You know, something's
Well,
in
it was the came and went sonnet. The subtitle was You Bent and Sent.
there.
Um, so just, just ridiculous shit. So please come subscribe to us. But I got off topic because, I
No,
wanted to plug Lawrence with us. Is going back to the Thomas Jefferson thing is like natural laws. I'm gonna read my just because I want to, and I can. And it's my channel, so I get to do whatever I want. Um,
I'm
you
listening.
don't
You read that. I'm gonna
I'm
get
the
some more.
man. You don't tell me what to do. This is America. Um,
Oh
oh
yeah,
Josh,
read,
stop.
read your piece.
So, so this one's actually a super short one today, but it's based on a conversation that Frederick Lawrence and I have all been having around civics and the idea of the Tree of Liberty. And so the before I read it, the poem is entitled Foundations, and it is about pruning a tree of civics and of liberty because our founders most people envision the Tree of Liberty as a gigantic, probably oak tree that just fucking Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin and Washington just freaking flag of Iwo Jima into the ground. They didn't do that. It was a fucking sapling. They gave us a sapling of a tree so the soil around it is the foundation, is our Constitution, is our Declaration of Independence, is our Bill of Rights, is our Federalist Papers, is all of the things that our founders and those right near there wrote about it because they lived the experience. Where now, where the tree is more matured, trees mature. What do you have to do when you're gardening? You weed things, you prune, you cut off branches, you encourage growth. So today is a haiku and it is entitled Foundations.
Okay.
So here is Foundations. Civic foundation, tend her soil, prune our tree. New new growth springs from care.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
And so I want to just think on maybe what that means a little bit. Is what is to me, I know what it means, and I just said a little bit of what I think it means on growing the tree. But Fred, I'd love to hear what you think about what do you think it means to grow the tree of liberty and to grow freedoms and those ideals as a civic duty.
Okay. Yeah. To answer Tim's question, did Washington chop down the cherry tree? That's actually apocryphal. It never happened. It's something that kind of came out later in our country's history. That was just sort of like, for school primers around the 20th century. But yeah, no, it never happened. Like we didn't start hearing that until in the late 19th century, I think, is
Hmm.
when we first started hearing it. Um, Teddy Bear, though, is named after Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
There actually was a campaign with
Oh, I
him
have
the
a story
bear.
on that one too.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm from Vermont originally,
okay.
and Vermont has the teddy bear factory. It is in fact named after and dubbed because of Teddy.
Yep.
Um, and so he's the bear. He's the original teddy bear. That's an
Yep.
American lore that's true,
Yep.
and it's okay to embrace cool, fun things like that. Like,
Teddy
who
bear
doesn't want to be
is
a big old teddy bear?
yeah, a big old it is that is named after
We're
Teddy
missing
Roosevelt.
our teddy bear, Lawrence.
Yeah, we are. You know. To get back to your point, like the analogy for me on the Tree of Liberty is like, you know, you have that with a lot of things that are not, it's you're taken into this, like you talk about this context, not you, but like this, oh, it's this tree and it's just eternal and it's this. And, the famous line is it has to be watered with the blood of tyrants and patriots every 20 years. Really for any tree to be healthy, right? There has to be nutrients in the soil, right? It has to have sun, it has to have water, and it's got to be pruned every so often, right? Dead branches, you got to prune them out. Um, you know, and sometimes like lightning can strike, it's split, you can go down as far as you want with the analogy, but like without that foundation of a nutritious soil and without those things to keep care of it, it dies, it withers and dies. And so for me, part of this civics is what gets focused a lot on is like freedom and liberty, freedom and liberty, freedom and liberty. It's like, but not so much what we have to do for the obligation to keep that freedom and liberty vibrant, to keep that tree of liberty vibrant. And it's always like, well, join the military. It's like, no, 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 it's not the only thing, right? I wouldn't want everyone to be in the military. I wouldn't want people to be forced to be in the military,
Hmm.
you know? And even as someone who is very like, I mean, the military can do a lot of good things, it can do a lot of bad things, but it can do a lot of good things, But
And this is coming from two veterans, y'all.
yeah,
Like, we're both veterans. Fred's a Marine vet. I'm an Army vet. I don't know his favorite color yet, so I can't send him a birthday gift next year.
navy blue,
Navy blue.
navy
Ooh,
blue.
ooh,
Yeah.
very specific. Oh, is it because you got Pearl Harbor right there and the Navy guys?
No, no. I've always just liked the color. It's like a deep
Mm,
blue. It's just, it's
mm.
soothing, it's comforting, it's calming,
All right, you'll get a box of
Scarlet is
crayons
just,
in the mail.
Scarlet, yeah, no, it's like, it's like it should be scarlet and gold. It's like, no, scarlet feels like, I'm in some like, you know, cougar 1970s cougar's house, that has scarlet drapes. Like it's just like, no, like forget it. Like, would you like me to wear scarlet? No, no, ma'am. I'm good. So, but I no, but the a lot of what's now again part of this is people like there's two things I think with civics like
Hmm.
the where people is one. I think people are kind of people are always intimidated by what they don't know. They're not comfortable with it, right?
Hmm.
So if you don't really understand, like even myself, I have to do research before I vote on amendments because they make the language, you know, like complicated, right? It's done that deliberately,
Yeah,
to try to trick you, right?
it's done it so that a no means a yes and a yes means a no.
Right. And so you have that, and the other thing too is like people have. Like typically politics isn't something that comes up all the time. Like we're all the weirdos, right?
Hmm.
That follow it all the time, right? Most people are just like what they go to work, they come home, they have kids, they have lives, they go and they do like, they have their entertainment or their distractions or whatever, and that's what they do, right? And I'm not downplaying I'm not like I would love to have that. I would love politics to be so boring where I could come in and out of it and I didn't have to
Yeah.
worry about, are we going to fascism and shit like that, but I think what's needed besides just um hey, Trump did this, hey, he did, oh, look at this, oh, look at that, isn't that crazy, as I think it's like here's how you need to think about citizenship.
Hmm.
Here's how you should think about rights. Here's where you're like we're not our the needs we have as a body politic, as a populace, as citizens in our civil rights are not being addressed. Because one of the things I talk to young men about all the time is, and they don't know a lot about women's issues because they think it doesn't affect them, right?
Mhm.
And I take it in very simplistic terms, right? It's because usually a lot of them are war gamers and all this other stuff. I said, okay, look at it like this: what if somebody took half your army and just took it away, or took away part of their equipment, right? How much more effective are you at that point? Because that's what they've done to women by taking away their body autonomy. They've made them weaker as a citizen. They've
Mhm.
harmed their civil rights. They've harmed their citizenship. Do you think it's easy? It's harder or easier to do it to you? Because so that's why you should care about women's issues because it protects
On
you.
on top of that, I can even take that one step further because I'll give you my own a personal example. Let's take let's take if you are a man who's had a vasectomy or is married
Mhm.
and your wife wants to do something with their body. Guess what, dude? They get to ask about your fucking health history now, not
Mhm.
just hers. They get to invade your fucking
Oh,
privacy. You know why? You know how I know that? Because they invaded my fucking privacy without me asking or without my wife asking or letting me know because it wasn't her decision, it was theirs. Guess what? That's every single one of us. If you're married, that's you, dude.
yep.
Don't be, don't fucking think that rights don't affect you. The thing is, we've forgotten that politics and civics affect everything
Everything.
and that you get the democracy you work for.
Yep. Pretty much.
And, and that I mean, as corny as that sounds and as corny as some of these sayings might seem to people, is they're true. You get the democracy you work for. And so we need to start working for it. And civics isn't a passive thing. Civics isn't learning about history exclusively. Civics is an action. You are a civically minded person. You are a civically minded citizen. You have responsibilities as a citizen. It is your civic duty to go
Mhm.
vote. Why is
Yeah.
it your duty? Because it's something you're supposed to go do. It's an action. Civics isn't about just
Mhm.
saying the words. Part of civics is the 115 of y'all who are here with us right now, listening and interacting with us and talking about it, because
Mhm.
that's part of civics is understanding and asking questions and knowing, hey, is this civically minded? It's an action, it's a doing, it's a verb. You do the damn thing.
Right.
You civic. Go civic something. And no, it's not a verb. I know that. I know it's not a real verb. But like, go do something. Go be on civics. Like, go take the action and do it because that's what we need right now. And we need to remember that civics isn't also just political, it's
But I
moral.
would ask people this too. It's like if if you worked at a job and you had a coworker that showed up to a job that they were hired to do, that they said they wanted to do, right? And they didn't know what they're doing because they never studied, they never paid attention, blah blah blah. How happy would you be with that person?
You'd
If you
hate them.
Yeah, you'd hate them.
You'd be so frustrated with them all the time.
So you want to be an American citizen, but you don't want to study.
Mhm.
You don't want to learn your government. You don't want to learn who your rep is. You don't want to learn what they voted on. You don't want to do any of this. And like, that's your obligation. If you want to live in a free society and you like, there are certain things that you have to, that's watering the tree of liberty. That's making sure it's pruned. That's all these things is just
It's freedom isn't free.
right. It's not. It takes a little bit of work, not a lot, but a little bit, you know,
Hmm.
like, hey, who voted on this? Like, why did they vote this? You know?
Yeah.
And, I was like, okay, yeah, it may not be you protesting in the street. It may not, but it could be talking to your neighbor like, man, do you see what, our rep did? They voted on this,
Yes.
this, and this. This affects you, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. It's like, yeah, man, that's not cool.
Hmm.
Like it's
It's your
little things.
family. It's your family giving you a call or a friend saying, "Hey, I now know like this impacts me. I now know that it hurts me. And I've seen it and I'm now seeing it. And you going, okay, awesome. I'm glad we're on the same page. Let's go forward. Let's move on. You've learned the lesson. I'm not going to grind it into your fucking face because then you're not going to want to work with me or talk to me. Yeah, you've made some shitty past choices and you supported some things that I've told you and warned you are bad and would hurt me directly before you. And it
Yep.
took until it hurt you for you to see it. But guess what? You saw it. And so I'm not going to throw it in your fucking face. I'm not even going to ever mention it to you that it hurt me. Because why? Because you already knew that because I told you that months ago and we talked about it and we discussed it civilly sometimes, or we didn't discuss it civilly and people walked out or got frustrated or people shut off contact. But you know what? It's important to rebuild that bridge because it's not about tearing each other apart. It's we the people. America is we the people. It's civically minded individuals who care enough about each other and our democracy because democracy is for everyone. It's freedom for all. And so I have to forgive, not forget. I don't forget because if you forget, you don't learn. I forgive and we move forward. We don't forget lessons of the past. We learn from them. We move on. And yeah, some of them are fucking shitty. I'm Jewish. My family's Jewish. We have family members who were killed in the Holocaust. It
Mm.
doesn't directly affect me, but it did my family. We were booted out of Russia and that area during the Bolshevik revolutions. It affects me. I understand what this type of hate does. I understand what it looks like. It looks like concentration camps in Florida. It
Yep.
looks like random death camps that we don't know about other places in the country. It looks like us attacking Canadian fishermen in international waters for no fucking reason to try and start wars with our closest allies.
Yeah.
That's what fascism is because it's we stopped caring to remember that it's the little things, it's the moral pieces of civics that are the most important. We lost the moral war, or we're losing the moral war. We haven't lost any moral war. Look at what's happening in our country right now. They're trying to normalize pedophilia on a
Yeah.
global fucking scale. That is a moral crisis. That is literally tearing at the fabric of moral America. It's on purpose. It's not on accident.
It's
We
well,
can fight back. To be
it's
civically minded is to say, no, that's not okay. That's not what we as Americans
yeah.
believe. And when you say we as Americans, I fly the flag behind me for a reason because it's my flag. I fought for that fucking flag. I fought for that flag. My dad fought for that flag. My brothers fought for that flag. My wife fought for that flag. My grandfathers fought for that fucking flag. People before them fought for that fucking flag. We're not going anywhere and it's my goddamn country. Yours too.
Yeah.
That's the
What
important part. Is you got to get fired up too, is you got to reclaim patriotism, not performatively, but ethically and morally and truthfully. And that's patriotism, is standing up and saying, no, that's wrong, and helping people move forward.
the
And
reason
that's
we
pruning the tree of liberty.
Yeah. Well, the reason we have these no-go lines, the reason we have the rule of law, we have these things, is because the nature of extremism, like its nature, its essential thing is to keep going. It's a cancer. It consumes. And that's all it does. So first, like it's stripping women of their personhood, of their citizenship, right? Dehumanizing them, devaluing them. And then next, it's younger women, girls, children, right? That's the next step. That's why we're seeing the pedophilia now, right?
Hmm.
Because again, you're talking to people that don't value anyone outside of themselves as people. That includes me, that includes Nick. They will eventually come for us because it is the nature of that thing, that horrible evil of that extremism and fascism and authoritarianism to do that. They will come for everyone else. That's why that poem is so powerful. First, they came for this person, then they came for, That's why it's so powerful, because it's still true. It is the nature of its thing to keep going. There, Donald Trump and those folks are not going to go, oh, well, we've done enough fascism. This is the line.
Yep. Yeah,
Yep,
there's
we're
never a
good.
point where they go, "Yep,
Yeah,
I'm good. Fascism. We
yeah,
got to the peak of fascism. You know what? We're good. We're
we're
gonna
good.
stay
We're gonna we're
right."
gonna we're gonna maintain this level of fascism. If you're on this side of the line, you're totally cool. You
Yep.
know.
Fascism is a government that is a type of rule that gets smaller and smaller and smaller because it's an objective of one. It's the most narcissistic type of rule there is. It is all about one and glorifying a single person and deifying a single person, i.e., in our time right now, the Mango Mussolini Trump or
Yep.
the tiny tank Trump. Yeah, my tanks are
Squeaky,
so squeaky.
squeaky,
They're
squeaky.
so
So
squeak,
squeaky.
squeak, squeak, motherfucker.
Mhm.
Um, but like we're seeing it now. But one of the things I think we need to think about too when we think about civics is what the right and what the fundamentalists on the right have gotten, I think, really fundamentally wrong about civics and about
Yeah.
the understanding of conservatism,
Mhm.
and conservative and being a conservative, because the root of that word is conserve.
Yeah, they're not
And
conservative.
to conserve something, I re-put out a poem this morning called Democracy Rises. It's about rising from the dark and growing from the roots and building up. Conserving something is what our most progressive people in this country do. They're the ones who go and sign up to be the park rangers. They conserve national parks. They conserve the beauty of our country. They conserve the fundamental things that we care most about and that our democracy protects and that we should be fighting for. Our BLM land, our public lands that they want to turn into fucking drilling areas, that's your public land. You own that. Yeah, we fucking stole it from the natives and we killed and genocided a bunch of people along the way. W- We did that.
Mhm.
Fast forward to now, it's our land to protect. If we
Mhm.
want to honor their memory, if we want to honor the memory of the people that we genocided and hurt, we need to protect that land. Conserve the land around you, conserve the people around you, protect. To conserve is to protect, but you need to prune a garden to protect it. You need to weed your garden. You need to prune your tree of dead limbs. You need to cut off branches that grow too fast in one direction. You need to put guardrails and protections. The Constitution is that guardrail. It's that foundation for the tree to grow on. It's our responsibility as citizens to protect it, to do it, to be the active person, um, to do it. Actually, funny, Morgan, you say lock him up or lock him up. I got started a lock her up chant when somebody said Christy Gnome's name at the No Kings rally. Um, and it was right at the time when she was posting her illegal photographs outside of the CCOT
Ugh.
concentration camp in El Salvador. So just remember, Dachau wasn't in Germany.
Mhm.
Auschwitz wasn't in, was
Nope.
Auschwitz is in Poland, right?
Yep. I think the Dachau. Yeah, Auschwitz was in Poland, and I think maybe Dachau was too. I can't remember where Dachau was, but they were not. Yeah, they weren't in Germany. No.
Like, you have to remember the first concentration camps weren't in Germany. Yeah, it's in southern Poland is Auschwitz. Um,
Yeah.
and you have
And they
to
were in
remember
out of
that's
the
where
way.
it starts.
They were in out of the way places, right?
Yeah, think about where we're building them now. The
Yeah,
Everglades of
because it's
Florida.
harder to go in and have, people from that town or whatever say, "Hey, this is like, we've been hearing some bad things. Let's go check it out." So it's harder for transparency, right? And so that's why, they're going to build it on a military base or whatever. And, like, yep.
Yep. And so it's our duty to call these things out. Like as part of a civically minded person, we have to, and so we're coming at this as veterans. Fred and I are both veterans. And so for me, I'm coming at this as service after service. And Fred pointed out a really good notion earlier was that most people just think of service as going into the military and signing up for the army, or maybe becoming a police officer or a
Right.
firefighter or an EMT. But service is also becoming a teacher.
Yep.
Service is joining a federal teachers union and giving back to your country by educating the children, by educating the next generation and not letting them forget civics and the moral responsibility of an American to live up to that dream and live up to the ideal that all people are created equal and that all people, and I say people, not men, because for a modern time, we must update our language on how we speak. And words have power and words are meaningful when you use them correctly. So all people deserve freedom, liberty, and justice and the pursuit of happiness. So what can we be doing on a small scale, Fred, do you think, to help prune this tree of liberty and be more civically minded without
Um,
having to do
yeah.
sometimes it's not a lot.
No, it's so and I had a piece I wrote back a little while ago. This is what you could do other than protesting, right? And this even goes back to biblical notions where you've heard this phrase, go the extra mile, right? And that actually comes from the Bible. It's the same thing with turn the other cheek. And what Jesus is talking about there is doing a little extra, right? So, back in the day, reportedly, like if a Roman legion was marching by and a legionnaire could request that you carry their pack a mile, right? And he could take it off and he could hand it to you, and you had to walk with him to give him a break, right? And so Jesus was basically saying, instead of walking one, walk two, right? That's where going the extra mile comes from. So, what you can do as a citizen, maybe you can't go into public service and maybe you can't be a teacher, or maybe you have a job doing something else, or maybe you have a job, doing, but do you have friends that aren't voting, that are not
Hmm.
signed up to vote? Somebody that's gettable, right? That you can say, hey, are you registered? Like, oh man, I don't really want to do that. It's like, look, it's at the post office. Let's go get lunch, and then on our way there, we'll go ahead and register, and then
Yeah,
we'll take ourselves out to lunch for a treat. How about that?
yeah.
I'll buy
Or
you I'll buy you a beer or something. Or
yeah. Make
is
it
it
easy for your friend to want to just go and make it something simple.
or if you really like, one way that might be effective, right? If something that Trump has done has affected you personally, right?
Hmm.
You can get like 10 postcards, right? And write down, if you like, maybe your neighbors, but you don't know your neighbors, right? Or maybe, you know, they're kind of maybe Republicans, or maybe they're not virulent, maggots, right? Write down how it's affected you. Put a stamp on it and mail it to them, right? I live as like, I'm your neighbor. I live here. That puts a face to a policy. It's not just something they hear about on TV, and it's like, oh, well, I don't think I know anybody like that. No, no, turns out you do, right?
Hmm. You
And
do.
also, you might hit somebody that's not talking about it, that's maybe embarrassed about it, and they say, man, it's not just affecting me, right? It's not your job yourself to save America. You're not
No.
Captain America, you're not Superman, you're not any of these other things, right? But what you can do is what you can. Just a little thing here and there, right? You know,
Hmm.
I've talked about civic meetings, or, you don't have to organize them. You don't have to go out and do all the hard work, but it's like, maybe you don't like to sit in those meetings. Maybe it's too contentious for you. But do you like kids? Can, like, a lot of reasons people don't go to those meetings are because you know, hey, they like we can't get someone to watch our kids. Usually those are in a school or in a gymnasium. See if you like say to them, "Hey, I don't want to sit in the meeting, but I'll volunteer to watch kids in another room, you know. If I got some help, I can sit and watch them." Or,
Hmm.
"Hey, if you guys drive a bus or if you got a van, I can drive a van for seniors that maybe want to go but don't have a ride. I can
Yeah.
do that."
You make space
All
for democracy.
yes. Or, "Hey, do you guys do like, are we doing like a potluck? Like, like, are we going to do X, Y, and Z? You know, for the longest time. And this is why a lot of these states have cut back on early voting. What black churches would do is when folks would go to church, they'd have the sermon on democracy, and then they'd all go out and vote
Yep.
right after. And of
Yeah.
course, in Ohio, they attacked that, right? That's why they said, oh, we're not going to have it on Sundays. You can't early vote on Sundays. That was directly against black churches because that's how they organized. It goes back to the civil rights era,
Yeah.
right?
So think about it's the idea, and this is an interesting point there, is the idea of cutting off the access to voting in ways, and that's suppression of votes. And so I want to make sure that people under as we talk about like part of your civic duty is it's your duty to vote. It is also your right to vote in this country, and you should use that right. It's
Mhm.
not a privilege, it's a right. It's a right. And they're taking it away. And what they're doing is election interference. It's just legalized election interference in this country. Is we can gerrymander ourselves into oblivion, into an unsustainable democracy.
Mhm.
It's different types of election interference. It's hiding the vote. It's making sure black churches cannot get their congregations out to go vote. It's making sure that elder communities don't get ride shares. That's what they're trying to suppress. So what we need to do is we need to be the space for democracy and offer that instead. And it's simple. It's simple to do that. Like Fred just said, just go be a friend, go potluck, go watch kids. If you're
Yeah,
great with kids, if you don't, like just go
maybe.
follow Chris Goldsmith's idea of starting a book club called the Anti-Fascist Book Club. He gives you the outline on his website on how to do it. It's just six. You start with six book club nights, and by the time you're a pro and you just know how to read books and discuss them, it's fucking doing book reports like when you were a kid, but you enjoy it because it's a topic that you want and understand, and you're trying to save your democracy. And guess what? You just drag a friend. Your librarian is the most anti-fascist person you probably don't even know about. Like literally, they are the gatekeepers of knowledge in most places, and they refuse to let books be burned. So they're more anti-fascist than most people. So I bet if you just went to your local library and was like, "Hey, I want to start an anti-fascist book club," they'll be like, "Oh, cool, we got books on that here. Here's a couple people that might be interested, and they'll give you a couple phone numbers. Maybe they'll even show up and they'll fucking promote it for you. That's all you have to do. And then you're in a community, especially if you're in a red state where you think you're alone, you're not alone if you just reach out to people. If you just be a little bit vulnerable, you'll find that we're not small in number. There's more of us than there are of them. If we just convinced people or reminded people that there is a duty to being a citizen, and that duty is to vote.
Yeah.
That's like your only thing you are supposed to actually do as a citizen is vote. We should be doing more, and we should be encouraging people to want to do more. And that's kind of what Fred and I are hoping to start doing here, is encouraging you guys and ourselves to go out and be more active in civically minded ways. Just
Yeah,
make simple steps.
and maybe you don't want to be the person that knocks on doors and
And you don't have to.
encourages. No, maybe you don't want to march in the street, and but even to Nick's point, you can say, hey, do you guys have like a book reading or story time for kids? Maybe your library doesn't. You're like, I'll do that, you know? And then you pick a book and, that's where you could be a little subversive, where you talk, like you pick children's books that are more pro democracy, right?
Hmm.
And then, pro inclusion, right? and then you read them to the kids,
And
you
you do it
know.
subtly. You don't do it ways to piss people off.
No.
You can be aggressively you I think it was Jess Piper at one point said be an asshole for democracy. Basically was being annoying as shit for democracy, but sometimes being annoying means you're reading slightly more pro-democratic. And I say democratic in terms of pro-democracy, pro-democratic values and our republic's values, books to their kids without them knowing it
and
or
and
understanding what you're doing, and you're giving the parent a civics lesson too.
and realize that you are not going to win hearts and minds, or like, there is no argument or talking point that you can utter that someone's going to be like, oh my God, I should have voted for Kamala. I'm a progressive now.
Mhm,
Like, that's not going to happen. But what you can potentially do is plant a seed, right? And it might take your friend that doesn't want to vote because they're scared and they're not going to tell you about it, or they're not going to, they might blow you off 4, 5, 6 times.
mhm,
And it may take you saying, "Hey, this is really important. Let's just do it. Let's go." It may take you taking them whenever they go to vote, right?
mhm.
And they might go, "That was annoying," or they might say, "Man, this is actually not as bad as I thought it was."
Oh,
I
this
was
was
like,
easy.
I was in and out. Like, wow, that was the first time I voted, and then you encourage that. And if that's all you do, you've done you've done your duty plus.
Hmm.
Because your duty is to go vote. Your duty is to be informed, right? But if you get someone else to go with you, you've done your duty. You've gone the extra mile.
And
You
and
know,
I think we need to think about it. Well, maybe we need to reframe it a little bit. Is you haven't gone the extra mile by just bringing one. Maybe that's the first step. That's your foot in the door to democracy. But we have to remember that democracy is a collective action, and it's
yeah.
not once that it's when you go that extra mile when you bring that friend every time. And when you get that friend to bring another friend. And it's just as simple as that. And I'm not saying we have to do that the the old tropes of what like the Democratic Party or even the Republican Party do of trying to get people out. It's not about party. I don't give a shit about either of the parties. I
Mm.
do care about our democracy. I care about our Constitution. I took an oath to the Constitution to support and defend it.
Right.
And that means encouraging people to collectively go out there and making space for other people to participate in the democracy. Because I have privilege to go vote. I have privilege to be able to do it safely every single time. Use your privilege to help other people who might not have that safely or safety or access to it where they need, because you are the person that will help be the gateway and the guardrail for democracy. It's not enough anymore because that's what we forgot as citizens is that it's an active participation. 40% of the country on average does not vote. 40% of the voting population of this country on average does not vote every single election. That is a huge amount of people who are just uncivically educated. The left and the right and all of us who in general vote are much more civically educated in one way is we vote.
Mhm.
That's our duty. That's our sole duty is to vote. The rest are just like, I'm here for the ride. People need to remember that that's not just a baseline duty. That's
Yeah.
that's your I'm sorry, that is your baseline duty. That's just part one. But being part of this democracy is more than that. It's encouraging other people, it's helping other people. It's seeing the value in having a democracy where we can have these arguments and we don't get fucking thrown into a gulag because I said Trump's a giant taco or Taco Dilla or Taco Dial Supreme or whatever the fuck he is. He's just a piece of shit. But I'm not going to get thrown in jail in a democracy that's pluralistic and that cares about freedom of speech because of that. But I
Yeah.
will in an authoritarian state where everything is policed and all of our language is subdued and we have to conform to one model. The great thing about democracy is we're different, is we're all different and our ideas matter because we matter. And the least you can fucking do is go vote. Sorry for swearing at everyone, but the least we can all do is go vote. And the least you can do is encourage your friends to go vote or make a safe space for those who are disenfranchised to then be able to go vote.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And
So,
think of it as a moral obligation to vote. Don't think of it
yes.
as your civic. Let's talk about it from a moral. We've been on for a while, and we'll be done here soon. I think, probably in the next couple minutes. But I want to leave this idea though of think of civics as a moral obligation. It is your moral obligation as a citizen of the United States to uphold the American dream, to uphold the values, and to support and defend the Constitution. Our actions. And I don't think it's enough for us to be passive anymore and to not say things. And it is enough when your MAGA relative burns their hat and throws it away and says, I was duped. Doesn't even
Yeah.
have to say that. They don't even have to go that far. If they get rid of all their shit and they start going, shit, I might have been lied to, go, hey man, we've all been there. Let's go do something about it. Get them engaged because they're the ones who are already engaged and they'll bring their friends along because we're not in MAGA. I'm not MAGA. I don't believe in their shit. I don't believe in
Because,
performative patriotism, but they have an inside.
well, but here's the hard part with all this, right? Is and this is where I get to be the illusion shatterer and Debbie Downer.
Hmm.
For everyone who thinks that the Republican Party is going to fracture and splinter and go away once Donald Trump crashes and burns, it's possible, but it's highly unlikely, right? What what we have to try to do ultimately, right, is the best we can do is get back to a place where we agree on foundational principles and discourse for disagreement. If we can get back to that, that's good. Now, what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to take those things. Those Republicans are going to have to hold their people accountable.
Hmm.
And that's where we have to be. It's like, look, because is everybody going to become a Democrat? No. And I wouldn't want them to because I don't like a lot of the Democrats. I don't
And
like our party currently.
that's not a
Yeah.
pluralistic
That's
society either.
no, right? What we need to do is say, hey, man, you need to keep an open mind because you've been lied to by Fox News, by OAN, and by all these institutions that upheld this asshole, right? You need to go hold your guys accountable.
Hmm.
I'll hold mine accountable. It's that stupid thing that go, well, what if Bill Clinton's in the Epstein files? Then we'll hold him accountable. It's that simple, right? Whoever's in there, you know, that's the problem. Is your response should say, I'm willing to hold Trump accountable. Are you willing to hold you? Yes. Okay, good. We can agree. There is a line in our society that we don't want to cross. And that's it. You know, if you help, like, I can help you get it to where we're not lied to as often or as much again, but you have to be willing to pull your weight and
Yeah.
help us tear down these systems that have been built up by the money classes to lie to us.
Yes.
Because
Exactly.
I'm not, I don't have a big, I don't have an Obama flag outside my house, even though he's the one who inspired me to get into politics. I don't have an Obama statue. I don't have an Obama hat. I don't have any of that, right? All I have from Obama is I have a New York Times that's plastic sealed from when he won his first election.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my memorabilia from
Yeah.
Obama.
Yeah, like I've got my memorabilia from Bernie. Bernie's the reason I got into politics.
Yeah,
Is a shirt. I have a shirt from high school. It was Students for Bernie. It was the first time I could ever vote, and I voted for Bernie. And then I voted for Obama ever since. Like,
I literally
and then
helped
I did.
organize for OFA and local Democrats in 2012. I don't have anything from that campaign.
Yeah, and it's I don't
Like,
keep all that. Like the only things that I keep, like I have my sign from the rally because it's something I made, but it's not about the Democrats. It's about what we're doing.
right.
It's also remembering that let's go. let's take some of the examples of where we live. I live in Arkansas. I live in a place where where Republicans have a supermajority and they've fractured our state. But we've also never had the Democrats come in and go, hey, give us a reason to vote for us. One, there's no candidates ever. And two, more
Right.
often than not, the national party is just like, you know what? Not worth it because it's Arkansas or it's Oklahoma or it's Louisiana. But guess what? I'm a Democrat. You know what you could do? You know what you could do as a person, and it's a small act of democracy in doing it, is go open a food pantry in your neighborhood. Like if there's no food pantry, go do a food drive. Go talk with the local library and ask them if you could host a food drive. Just introduce yourself. Just do a food drive.
Yes.
And you know what? You'll probably get half the town come out and give you cans, and you can just say, "Hey, my name's Nick," or whatever your name is, and introduce and say like, "Hey, these are kind of what I believe in. This is why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I know I've been there. I've been hungry before. I don't want my neighbors to be hungry too." Guess what? You've opened up conversation now with over 100 fucking people who are possibly voters who might not have even known why you're there. And if you're doing it just to do it, yeah, you may run for something at some point. You may
Yeah.
never run for something, but guess what? If you go out and keep doing that over and over and over again and give people food, the basic necessities, the things that people are most insecure about right now are food and health.
Mhm.
Food and health. What can we do? I can't help you be healthier up front, but I can help you be healthier by giving you food. I
Right.
can donate food. I can encourage others to donate food. Maybe then I build relationships with the community and I get 1,000 of you to sign a petition that says, hey, maybe I should run for local house race in this town or in this district, or maybe I should run for school board, or maybe I should be the mayor. Maybe I should do this. Maybe everybody in this town who knows me and knows my face and knows what I'm about, who likes me because I've come here, doesn't care that I'm a Democrat, and you can just say, hey, I know I'm going to appear as a Democrat on the ballot coming up. I'm running. Like, I've gotten to know everybody here. You guys have all signed to say that you'd be cool with me running. Would you vote for me? Like,
Yeah.
you know my values. Like, I care about you. And you know what? About I bet you about 85% of those people are going to go, yeah, I'd vote for you. And they
Sure.
will. And they'll
Yeah.
encourage their friends. And if they see your name, they're going to also vote for everybody else who's on the same side of the ticket that you are, because you showed them what it meant to be part of a democratic society where people care about each other and have values, and you lift each other up. And they're going to go, that was my neighbor. I don't give a shit that he's a Democrat or she's a Democrat or they're a Democrat. I'm going to vote for him because I like him. And then they're
And
going to vote for other people.
when I lived in Hawthorne, California, I ended up voting for, and it was, part of the LA County Democratic machine. The independent one, who was a little more progressive and it was kind of an unknown, I voted for him. Whole reason I voted for him, he personally came to my door and knocked on it and told me about himself.
Hmm.
Two
It's
minutes.
what Pat
And
Abadazilla does.
yeah. And he says, hey, I'm this, da, da. It's what Mom Donnie did in New York,
Yep.
right?
It's what Deja Fox was doing and is still doing.
And that's it, is like, that's the biggest problem I had with the Democratic Party not doing Howard Dean's 50 state strategy, right?
Yeah.
Is, yeah, I
Can't
mean,
believe he fucking lost because of that.
dude, we were so innocent back then in politics.
God, he was such a good man. He was such a good governor too. Like
Yep.
he had some flaws, but he was a good governor. And damn, just one yeehaw got him. And
That
here
was
we
it
are with
back
a
then. It was just
pedophile.
one, yeah, or,
And here
yeah.
we are with a pedophile. He was
Yep.
so excited. He just fucking let it out. Like, come on, man.
That was it.
And now we got this.
Yep. Because it's like,
Man,
because
how we've
again,
fallen.
these assholes on corporate media are like, you know, well, we need someone excited, like someone excitable with charisma and energy. And you get that in Howard Dean. No, it's
Hmm.
too much. We need somebody boring and, meh, and like that
Like
no
Al
one gets
Gore.
excited about. Let's get Kerry, like John Kerry. It's like,
Ugh, what a waste. What a waste.
yeah, yep, 100%.
Okay. Okay, y'all. We've been on here for an hour and a half. You
Yeah.
have everyone here has come on and been amazing. Thanks, Fred, for hopping on with me for
Yeah,
this.
of
This has
course.
been awesome. I love doing this. Thank you, everyone in the chat too, for talking with us, exchanging ideas. I've seen a lot of discussion go on in the chat. I'm going to definitely copy, make sure I've saved it so that we have this for to get some good ideas out of it too. For more things to talk about, we want to encourage everyone to come back. Please do subscribe for both Frederick and myself. Frederick is incredible. He's got some
Thank you.
great ideas. Also, go support his GoFundMe, help him out, help his mom out. Um, they're suffering through a dementia and it's hard. I've been there with family with Alzheimer's. Like it affects a lot of us. These type
Yeah.
of neuro degradations affect all of us in a lot of ways. Go help Frederick out. Every dollar, every little bit of love, a subscribe helps.
Yeah.
Um, just anything. And obviously, I'll plug myself before I hand it over to Fred is come support my work. If you like poetry, if you like a little bit of a twist on politics and social stuff with some civics and fun discussions thrown in there.
Yeah.
Come join me on the sick of this shit stuff.
Yeah. No, it's been great, man. Like I'm having a blast, you know. So how many things are we doing this week?
Oh my God. So let's since we've got everyone here, we're gonna do just a quick preview of the week for myself and Frederick.
Yeah.
We're doing oh yeah, and I'm doing a summer drive right now. So anyone who signs up as a paid subscriber during the next week and a half at this point, just under 2 weeks, um, gets an 80% off discount. So it's $1 a month or $11 annually, or $200 for a founding or more for a founding subscription where you get to you commission a poem for me that is yours. Basically, I'll put it on the site, but I'll also email it to you and give it to you so that you can have that poem, and it's yours if you want to become a founding member. Someone asked in the chat. Morgan asked because she's awesome. Um, oh, but line up for this week because we got a ton of great stuff. So I'm going to be putting out a a full note or post later today before the end of the day. The sick of this talks are getting expanded, and we have some really great discussions with Frederick and I this week. Um, we will be talking to Tim Fullerton from the Find Out podcast on Tuesday.
Dig it.
Um, we will be talking with Fred Wellman from the On Democracy podcast and Midas Touch Network. And he's a good friend and fellow veteran. Go support his work.
Yeah, great
And
name too. Great name.
a great name. And so it's going to be the
Right.
Fred and Fred show. Um, and we're looking to also, we have a tentative schedule for Thursday with Chris Goldsmith,
Yeah,
who is the
that would be
resident
awesome.
Nazi hunter, and co-host of the Find Out podcast. Um, and then on Friday, we'll be doing the Wizards Council
Wizard Council.
with
You
Frederick
know.
Lawrence and I. Lawrence Winterman, if you're not subscribed to him, great author, doing a sci-fi book. So thanks everyone for being here.
Oh,
Um,
and I will
Fred?
also be with so on Saturday, I'm gonna have a live with Anna Wick, who she was one of the first people I connected with when I was on Substack. She's going to be talking about her time in the evangelical movement and kind of what she's written about it. So it's and then now she's a photographer and talks openly about sexuality. So absolutely going to be doing a live with Anna Wick on Saturday, and then
Awesome.
so definitely check it. I'll definitely post that up, and then yeah. Um
Oh, and I guess I'll do the other lives that I've got going on because I booked my schedule this week packed. Um, I've also got lives on Monday and Wednesday in the mornings with Wendy the Druid. This week
Nice.
with Lawrence Winterman, special guest on Monday, and Walter Ryan, special guest on Wednesday.
Nice.
Um, and then on Tuesday evening with Lisa J, I'll be doing a discussion on dominionism and the Seven Mountain Mandates again which is going to be a continuing series of ours on every Tuesday and Thursday, which we started last week. So
Who's on with Walter? Is it just you and Walter?
me and Wendy the Druid.
Oh, so you, Wendy, and Walter.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it'll be me, Wendy, and Lawrence on Monday, me, Wendy, and Lawrence on Friday, or sorry, me, Wendy, and Walter on Wednesday. It's a packed schedule, so I'll be putting a bunch out. Um,
Yeah, that's it. So
but
I've got
here we go, y'all.
yeah, man. Yeah, we're gonna be having some lives this week.
And Fred, and we're going to be getting Fred out there more too. I'm going to be getting
Oh
Edric
yeah,
on
I'm
this
gonna like
network all the time.
I know you bought dude. Like hit me up whenever you want. Like
I
if I'm
made a friend
available.
in this man.
Yeah,
We got some three. We got it's the beard. It's the beard.
the
It's
beard and
just
the
I'm
the beard and the
drawn.
veteranness. It's the
hmm
like yeah.
It's the manliness that just sucks us in. Like, what's more manly than three men talking to each other? The only
Yep.
thing other than that is what Lawrence has talked about at football night, and that's we won't go there today.
Lawrence likes men in a much different way than you or I do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. It's fine.
Lawrence is our resident wizard bear.
He is bear.
He's the bear of the group. So
Yeah,
if y'all love fun and y'all love jokes, come join us again.
that's it.
All right, Frederick, I'll talk to you again soon, man.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks again, Nick.
Thanks, everyone. We'll talk soon.
Bye bye.